Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwartner, and welcome to our LinkedIn livecast with Jack Siney. He's a serial entrepreneur and the CEO of Front Race. Welcome, Jack.
Hey, Gerhard, great to be here. Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
So, you're on a mission to help change the world of selling for the better. And I want the audience to hear a little bit about your background. Can you tell us about you're a serial entrepreneur, you've been in sales, so let's hear it from you.
Sure, that's a big lead-in. Boy, we changed the world here today, but or at least in the next couple of minutes. Oh, great. Well, again, thanks for being here. I love selling power. I love the resources your organization offers. So, really, again, privileged to be here. Thanks so much for the time. My background, I feel so blessed, honestly. I had a really dysfunctional, for those of you who need to overcome, I had a really dysfunctional childhood, two alcoholic parents, and lost the house I grew up in, and really was determined not to repeat those mistakes. And so I started my career working for big organizations. I felt like that was my out. I started my career working for the Navy on the Blue Angels, actually the Blue Angels fighter jet program, which was a really unique way to start your career. I worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers, another really big organizations, but I knew I always wanted to do something entrepreneurial. And so then I had a series of small businesses. I had a business in the home improvement industry. My wife and I shared a retail business. I had and have a real estate business, and those were great. And I learned a ton of things. And then about 20 years ago, I really crossed over into the venture-backed technology world. And so I co-founded a company that was in the public safety space, venture-backed. We really work to improve what they do in the public safety space, work with law enforcement agencies all across the country. Wound up selling that company. It was amazing. And then grew from that. One of the technologies we had at that company grew a gov tech company called GovSpend, working to improve how companies actually work with the government. It was an amazing ride. We had a big team, over 100 sales reps. We actually hit goal, believe it or not, for like 67 straight months as a software as a service company. It was amazing. And that business actually exploded during COVID because the government was the only entity spending a ton of money during COVID, right? And so we were helping companies do business with the government. And again, that was a successful exit after COVID. And that's really what started this new endeavor. The lessons we learned during that time really started this new venture that we started. And one of the reasons I'm here today, and just want to talk about the changes, the enormous changes that are taking place in the sales world today. And I think folks are really struggling to kind of overcome all the things that are coming at them right now.
So, change has been a constant for the last 100 years in sales, but now it's accelerated.
Yeah.
What do you see as the biggest challenges that salespeople and sales organizations are facing right now?
Sure. It's so interesting. In the last, probably 15 years, I've had a chance to meet a variety, especially of CEOs, sales leaders. And when I talk with them, I believe most people right now are dealing with this following paradigm. 80% of the people I talk to are confronting this problem, which is, hey, 4 or 5 years ago, we were crushing it. Things were great. We knew what we were doing. We had the metrics. We had all the systems. It was great. COVID came along. The pandemic happened, took us down. And that stunk, but we all got through it. And now we're better. We're back. And we're good. We're back. We've got through COVID and things are fine, but they're not great again. They're not crushing it. And I think most companies are stuck at that like 80% level. They're like, we're back. We normalized again. There's still some things moving around, but we can't get back to crushing it. And I think that's what I hear from CEOs, sales leaders, people that are leading companies, people that are selling. They're like, man, a couple of years ago, we're killing it, crushing it, and I just can't get back there, and I'm not sure why. And what's interesting is that if we really just stop, because type A's, we're type A's, like we're overcomers. Whatever you throw at us, we'll make do, right? But if we just stop and think about it, like everything's different. Literally everything is different. How we market, how we prospect, how we communicate, how we demo, how we hire, how we train. The technology, you and I, look, we're stuck in these boxes. Almost everyone operates in these boxes now, all the virtual meetings. And so it's all so dramatically different. And I think folks are stuck, again, at this kind of 80% of being great, and they're not really sure how to get over the hump.
Well, I just had a conversation with a sales leader today who says, I sometimes feel I'm playing a game of whack-a-moles.
Yeah.
Where one problem pops up, and let's say it's technology, another it's a human problem, or it's a training problem, or it's a data problem, or it's an equipment problem, and the
Yeah.
craziness that we have created with technology is due to the fact that there is so much information and not enough attention and not enough useful, reliable data that allows sales leaders to make better decisions. And I want you to tell me a little bit about your thinking, how Front Race is addressing that challenge.
Oh, it's great. And Front Race is our new endeavor that we just launched logo. Appreciate that. Yeah, I firmly believe in the most humble, loving way. You said things things are always changing, but I believe we're about to go through a seismic shift. Sales, particularly, is going through this seismic shift in what's going to happen and how we do business. And we're going to talk about that at the Selling Power 3.0 conference on December 3rd and 4th. So we're actually going to deep dive into this concept. But for our LinkedIn Live here, here's what's happening. I believe there's a convergence of several major factors that's changing how you have success in the business world. And so none of them are earth-shattering on their own, really. But what's happening is they're all converging at the exact same time, changing how we're going to do business forever. And I think, again, as Type A's, we're trying to marginally change what we do, but I believe it's a dramatic shift. And so from my perspective, there's really four things. One is the COVID pandemic and all the changes it had for us: work from home, hybrid, quiet quitting. Again, managers are trying to work through that, but how we hire, train, all the things I just spoke about, huge change on how we do business organizationally. And we see companies confronting that. And I think we'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple minutes. Second is the emergence of AI. We all know about that, but not only AI, which was probably originally released ChatGPT 2 years ago now. We're coming up on a 2-year anniversary, but how fast it's grown. It just reminds me, I'm going to date myself, but when the car industry many years ago came out, everybody had motors at the end of their name before my time. But in the internet, the .com age, every company had .com or E in front of their name, and it exploded. Everybody wanted to be a .com, wanted to be an internet company. And the same thing's happening now. If we all know, if you go to anybody's website, everybody has an AI capability. We do AI, we have AI intelligence, we incorporate AI, we have AI functionality. And the reality is, like you said, the coworker that or your cohort that you mentioned, so much is coming at people. No one really knows what to do with AI. Where does it really fit? Which technology should I use? So that's happening. The third is this expectations of this next gen workforce. If you think about the next gen workforce, some of these people have never been to an office. They've never sat in a cubicle. They really don't necessarily have a concept of what rush hour traffic is. They're like, why is it so busy on the highway at 5:30? They're like, they don't know what that morning rush hour, late rush hour thing is. They normally have an AirPod or some musical device in their ear. They have multiple screens. They have their phone, their computer screen. It's always a million things happening. And some folks in this next generation, if you have a team and you've hired them the last couple of years, you've never even met them. You've only probably seen them in one of these little square boxes that we're talking in now. So what this next generation expects, how they want to work, again, another third huge variable. And then last, we were just talking about all the technologies. So in addition to AI, there's all these RevOps and these sales enablement technologies. We're doing contact information, automate marketing, analyze calls, track pipelines, go to market, sequencing. We as a sales leader, I'm sure anybody that leads a team, I get called at least once a day, multiple times a week about, oh, did you hear about this new technology? Did you hear about this new app? Here's what I can do. It is overwhelming. And so I believe those four dynamics, as they converge on us right now, are causing a seismic shift in how we sell, and more importantly, how we have sales success. Because I think most sales leaders are making marginal changes, but a lot of folks have the same metrics, the same core systems as we had 4 or 5 years ago. And how we work and how we find information, valuable information, is going to be completely different than what we used to do just 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I think that's what's causing people to be stuck at this 80% of greatness again, 80% of what crushing it looked like. I think they're stuck because they're trying to stick kind of a square peg in a round hole. And it's causing, I think, a massive problem for most companies, and they don't know what to do.
So what you're saying is that there are really 4 hurdles. There's the post-COVID hurdle with people still not knowing where we are. A lot of people are still working at home, and others have mandates to get to the office. The second hurdle is the AI hurdle, which is a huge opportunity. Then there is the humanity, digital workforce, digital natives, Gen Z, people that need to be onboarded and enculturated in something that we have a hard time to define. And then there is the complexity of technology. When Salesforce.com came out, there were maybe 7 CRM solutions. And now Salesforce.com has like 4,000 apps on the App Store.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to
Overwhelming.
find out how to orchestrate that, how to integrate that, and how to lead people to higher levels of performance.
Yep.
So how does FrontRace unify all that and give sales leaders and salespeople a tool that allows them to become A players?
Yep. So first thing I want to say, I appreciate that lead in. Again, the goal we have with FrontRace is I think we learned some things that we want to share with the world. And the first thing is most companies don't need to add another system to their tech stack. So I just want to say it again. We're not here pushing most people already have enough thing. No one wants another solution, integrate another thing, learn a new technology. So that's the first thing. If anyone hears any message from this LinkedIn Live, we don't think you need another solution for your tech stack. So please don't go out and buy one. Your people don't want one, and please don't do that. So during the evolution of our last company, this is what we found. Folks have a lot of data. They don't have a lot of information. I just want to repeat that. So they have a lot of data. When there's a problem, there's an emergency in your company, you'll spend 2 or 3 days going through all your systems and finding it. Excuse me. You'll go through your messaging system, your CRM, your video conference, all the emails. You'll find out what's happening, but it's too late. And so what we do at FrontRace, there's 2 things we offer. We approach a company and say, whatever systems you have, we're going to connect all the systems you have, all of the data in your systems into one single view. It's amazing. It sounds super simple, but we're going to take all the systems you have in your communication stack and your tech stack. We're going to connect them. So you as a leader or somebody working for the company, you can see all the things that are happening within your company, and you can start to do analysis you've never been able to do before because the systems are now all connected. In one view, you can see, hey, how do we actually contact people? How do we actually get a demo? At a certain point in time, should we send an email or should we send a call? We all know this. What are my top 20% of the people doing? What do they do that's so unique that I've been unable to replicate with the rest of my team? Well, now you can see that data. And so why this is so important, and I'll tell you the second thing we do, but why this is so important, I just want to emphasize it, is that in sales, I've said this for many, many years. Listen, the difference between being good and great are not big things. The difference between good and great are 20 little details. It's 20 little things. Everyone knows the sales pitch. Everyone knows the pricing. Everyone knows the FAQs. It's not the big things. The things that make your best people the best are little details. It's 20 little things they're doing. How they text, how they send an email, when they follow up, how long a demo is, the order they do things. It's little tiny details. That's been the black hole of sales forever. And so now with FrontRace, first thing we're going to do is connect all those data points so you can start to see it. So that's the first part. Then the second thing, what's really when we decided to roll out this company is now that AI has exploded, we also take some AI technologies and we apply it to this new data set. And so what it does, the best thing AI does is when you give it a new data set, it is able to find massive pattern recognition in how you work. And so what FrontRace does, it takes the data from your company, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and will tell you in the sales process exactly what you should do next. And I don't mean by somebody's gut feel. I mean statistically, if you're at a certain part in the sales process, what should I do next? Should I send them an email? Should I call them? Should I send a text? How should I follow up? And what we do, we tell you based upon your company, the success and failures you've had. Statistically, the best thing to do at this point is to send an email or to send a text. Or if you do one of those things, we'll tell you what actually hurt your chances of closing a deal. Like no one purposely screws up their deal, right? But we'll statistically tell you every interaction you have in a company, and when it will hurt your process, we'll actually tell you that. So you don't have to ask your manager. You don't have to go through training. We'll actually show you what works. And then the AI piece, I'll just say the last thing is it finds all these amazing details, all this amazing data that's unbelievable. Hey, what order should you do things? How do you get a demo scheduled? What is the true cost of acquisition? How many times did you have to contact somebody to get a demo? How much does it take to support somebody? How do you schedule things? It is amazing, amazing set of data. So we connect the data and then we put AI on it to show you every day a set of learnings so you don't have to deep dive. No one has the time to deep dive into their data. We'll actually serve it up to you. Imagine logging into a web page and they'll tell you, hey, based upon what happened the last week, here are 3 things you better take care of or there are going to be problems down the road. It's an amazing, amazing set of data.
Well, I have a neighbor that is working in the White House right now, and he is in charge with other team members of the daily presidential briefing.
Yeah.
And there is an enormous amount of data from all around the world, and they make a decision working all night to have at the president's desk in the morning the daily presidential briefing to give them an overview of what happened in the last 24 hours and what decisions need to be made. So what you're saying is Frontrace is like the daily presidential briefing for the salesperson to make better decisions and follow up on everything, minute detail, so they don't skip a step and accelerate revenues and create more customers.
Yeah, it literally is amazing because people wonder. We go ask our manager. You know, in the old days of sales, we'd follow someone around, right? We'd shadow them and figure out what they did well and not. Well, now you know through mass pattern recognition, you're incapable of doing that as a human. It'll literally tell you statistically, here's what you should be doing. Like we don't have to guess anymore. And what's great about it, I just want to emphasize, it's the data for your company. So it's not, as a sales leader, I've used data from Harvard as they study sales or different Salesforce puts out a report every year, the state of sales and how much time do we spend selling and not selling. I've used that data, but it's very general. It's across all organizations and imagine now the data specific to your company, what works, what doesn't work. Imagine this, you find a problem in your company. You start to train and develop your people to get rid of that problem, whatever it is. Today, you really don't have any idea if it worked. You might see a blip in sales, but did your people change the process? Did they implement a new diagnostic sales process? Did they start using a tool you just bought? You really don't know. You don't. But we will actually show you the change in your process as you want people to be more diagnostic, or if you want them to close with certain pricing. We'll actually show you that constantly. It takes away, again, this black hole, which has been in the sales process for years. And we felt better about it when people were in the office because we felt we had maybe more insight. But now that people are at home, a lot of sales managers, leaders are lost. And they're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what my people are doing, right?
Yeah, there's another analogy that I keep thinking about, which is right here, the prefrontal cortex that is the executive function of the brain. So you are really creating that in a CEO. You're recreating this in your company, for your company.
It is. And one of the best parts about this solution, humbly, I would say, is this data is served up to you. No one has time. We're all overwhelmed with all the things we're required to do now and how complex it is. What leader, what salesperson has time to go, I'm just going to spend 2 hours analyzing the data of my company. I'm going to go look for issues or problems. No one does that. Very few, maybe 1% of the people. Imagine every day you get up, you have almost your customized business analyst that'll tell you what's happening at your company, good, bad, and indifferent. If you're a sales rep, it'll tell you exactly what the next step should be. It'll tell you what you're doing well. It'll tell you what you're not doing well. It'll tell you what you're doing different from other people. The AI embedded, here's one thing that is real world issue for people. How many meetings should we be in? Right? Post-COVID, again, a lot of people are in boxes. How many internal meetings, external meetings? A lot of time. Well, imagine one of our companies did this. Set all their contacts up. They can tell you by hour of the day, by day of the week, when they reach people most often and when they reach people the least. Not a Harvard study, for their company and the way they outreach and what they do. So now they can schedule meetings around, we're not very productive on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. Let's have meetings then because that's when we reach people the least. And oh my gosh, Monday mornings between 8 and 11, we crush. But a lot of teams have meetings then, which is counterintuitive. So all that data and the change in operations will be amazing for how you operate a team.
So when people go to your website, what should they be looking for?
Well, I guess a couple of things. So this is a brand new technology. We're literally going to release it live to the country, to the world on December 3rd at the Selling Power Conference. And so really right now, this is kind of like a friends and family kind of inside behind the curtain view of what we're doing. And so if you go to our website, you'll see all this information about how to manage your team, access the data that's never been available. If you're interested in doing it, one of the things we're doing right now is that through our network or folks who hear about it, we'll actually let you see the software and have it for free. So if you go to frontrace.com/selling power in our partnership here with Gerhard and what they're doing, we'll actually give you the software and you can see the impact for yourself. No obligation to buy. We'll literally connect all the systems for you and you'll literally see the impact this data set's going to have for your company. It is, I'm telling you, it's mind blowing. I can't even explain it because we internally behind the scenes, I'll tell you one of the things we're doing at the company, we're having a hard time putting together a PowerPoint or any kind of presentation deck that properly summarizes all of the learnings that you get from this data. It literally is over hundreds at this point of amazing learnings that people get from this core data set. And the AI piece, it is mind blowing. And so one of the things, again, we'll do is we'll give it to folks for free. They'll see it. It is a no brainer when you see it. And you just go to frontrace.com/selling power.
I'm on the site right now, and it says analyze all of your team's actions to identify the activities that close deals the fastest.
Yep.
And that's what we all need. We need to accelerate sales and to reach our goals. And I cannot wait to hear your keynote on December 3rd and 4th at the Sales Training and Enablement Summit. And I'm so grateful that you have condensed all your experience over the last 30 years into solving one critical problem that everybody is facing.
Yeah.
How do you create sort of that boardroom dashboard, that information central, if you will, so you execute flawlessly at every step of the sale?
Yep.
Which is brilliant.
It's an automated, right there. It's an automated business analyst all the time. It's what AI was intended to do, not all these kind of niche-y things. It literally takes your data, puts it all together, and then applies amazing learnings that it's impossible for the human eye to analyze those without having access to this huge data set. It really is incredible. It's been an amazing ride, and we have a series of clients that are in it now. Their feedback and the way the impact it has immediately, literally in the first week. I've never seen a solution. The changes and the blip it has in your efficiency for a company is amazing.
And there's one more request that I have for you when you join us at Sales 3.0. Do you want to know what it is?
Go ahead.
In your career, you have, way back when, been involved in creating hip hop songs.
I knew you were going to go here. I knew. That's why I paused before. I knew that's where you're going.
Is there any outside chance that you could share something with us in the form of a rap during the conference?
Oh goodness! Look, for the audience, this is an inside joke that's been going on for some time. So it's so funny. That's my pause as you see me probably turning red on the screen. There'll be true. It is true. In my youth, I spent all my free time, most of my free time as a youngster, in the hip hop, the inner city club world, and so I do have an affinity toward that world. And by Gerhardt's great request, we're going to try to come up with something to add a little levity and a little musical entertainment at the Sales 3.0 conference in early December. So it's worth coming just for that, for the 10 minutes of entertainment value. It'll be great.
Wonderful. Well, we are going to drop a link on LinkedIn on how to sign up for the event as our guest. It's free. Please join. Jack is on a mission to change the world of selling and for the better. And you're going to sell more, you sell better, and you're going to have more fun doing it.
Yeah. It's great. I again, humbly, what we're trying to share with folks are things we lived with a large sales team And we work with smaller companies having the same challenge of like, how do we actually become more efficient? We all have the same thing. Our top 10 or 20% crushing it. Leave them alone. Whatever they're doing, God bless. How do we get the rest of the organization to get near that? How do we improve them 10%? And the impact to your bottom line is exponential if we're able to do that. And this is the key, is sharing what works and how to train them in this with all these challenges that you're confronting today.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. Cannot wait to see you on December 3rd.